Blunt Cuts is a podcast fueled by creativity, curiosity, and empowerment.
We cut through the daily mess of life. This is unfiltered honesty.
Park your passive at the door. This is Blunt Cuts. Welcome to Blunt Cuts. I'm CJ. And please welcome to the studio today the beautiful, talented Samantha Rei, designer and Project Runway contestant, all around amazing human. Welcome, Samantha. We're so happy to have you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, so excited to have you, and such a big fan. Have been a fan of yours since a million years ago when I was modeling, and you were one of those designers who actually wanted me to come out and walk in their stuff. So
you're an early adopter.
Thanks for believing in me. I've worn your stuff. I love your stuff, and was so excited to see that Project Runway team also believed in you and put you out there. And it's so fun, like sharing with my family and friends, like, I know her. She's amazing. Like, she's an awesome, beautiful creature. And so happy that you got that wonderful opportunity. But yeah, I wanted you to kind of share your story a little bit before the show, when you got on, what that kind of means now that the show's run its course and you're back. You still have many internet memes, I'm sure, living alive. So yeah, let's get started. Tell us a little bit about your story and journey.
Sure. I mean, the first time I auditioned was back with my old label, back when I was still making Lolita clothing. And I think it was 2009. I think it was the season with Peach Carr. That was the first time I auditioned.
Okay. Cool.
And I remember just like, I'm a failure. What am I even doing? They don't like me. And they were very respectful. Like, one of my judges was Tim Gunn, and he was so sweet. And he's like, I'm just worried that you're not going to be able to move outside of your style. And I was like, oh no, I'm the worst. I'm so terrible. This is, and so I didn't design for probably 2 months. And I was so sad. I think I cried for like a full hour into the drive home. And I was like, and like, luckily my husband and my friend who's a model was in the car. And so I wasn't by myself at least, but afterwards, like when I was done being in a funk, I was like, this is stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. And I used my indignant rage.
Good. Rage is always a good creative flow.
To make one of the best collections I had made. And it was it was my first solo show. So that was Riot Reform that I showed at Hell's Kitchen.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. And what's funny, too, is at my new studio right now, I found the banner, the huge banner. And so that's going to be behind my kitchenette as like a reminder to like not take people's guff.
It's so great to have those formative moments, you know, as an artist in your life. And I think those will take you through into the future. You remember that. You remember that moment of desperation and sadness, and where you took it and fueled that rage into like amazing,
Absolutely.
Powerful clothes for like badass women. So.
I try. I mean, and the whole theme of that collection was like Catholic schoolgirls and like reform schoolgirls, and they're just like, I don't have to do what you tell me. So that was the first time I auditioned. The second time I auditioned, it was a couple years later, and I think it was either right before or right after I rebranded. And I was like, you know what? If I get in, I get in. If I don't, whatever. It's TV. Because by then I realized they're casting for a character. And if your character, like if the person you are doesn't fit with what they want for the dynamic, then that's what it is. And that's fine. So I went in and I got a second audition, and they're like, no, it's fine. And I was like, that's okay. And I just went on about my business.
It's amazing how rejection, like, you just start to get used to it.
Yeah.
And I think that modeling trained me well. So, from a child on, I got rejected all the time for X, Y, Z. And, like, that's rejection based on, like, the way you personally look. And eventually it just got comical. I'm like,
right.
Oh, yeah, I'm too thin. Oh, yeah, I'm too fat. Oh, my, like, ear is too long on one side. Like, people are the weirdest in that space. But what it does teach you is it just is like, okay, well, I've been rejected. Once you have that major rejection, like, and you can kind of grow from that and you
Absolutely.
learn.
And you kind of put it into perspective, too. Like, like, I know this isn't about me and I know it's not about my clothes, because they actually did like my portfolio. And one of the pieces I took away from it was really positive. Tim was my judge again. And I was talking about plus size fashion. It was right when I had first lost all that weight.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I got into this because I couldn't find stuff that fit me correctly. And like, I wasn't a big teenager, but I was, big throughout my adult life. And I just always wanted something that fit me. And there was never the thing I liked that fit me. And I didn't think that was fair. So we were having this conversation about plus size fashion. And he says, the fashion industry needs you. And I was like,
oh, that's amazing.
And that's what I took away from it was, even though I don't fit in this season and this show, somebody believes in me, and that's okay. So
that's some incredible feedback that would fuel me moving forward.
It was great, and it was really positive. So, but this most recent one, I went in with the same attitude, and I brought my friend who models for me, and I was like, you know what? If I don't get on, girls' weekend in Chicago.
Yeah. Darn, we're going to have to just go hang out and drink and eat amazing stuff.
Which we did do. And like, we went to the Field Museum and just had a great time. And because I'm just a like big old hippie in some regards, we went to the Field Museum and I was like, I'm going to get this crystal and I'm going to hold it and it's going to be a good luck charm.
Girl, I have healing crystals in my pocket right now. Okay.
I had them in my pocket the whole time I was on the show.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, this is a real life thing. Like my sister gave me. Okay. So
oh my God, stop.
I have two crystals. This one's in a pouch because it has some like sage and things with it. But like legitimately always carrying. And I'm cool today. I need all like the healing I can get. So bring it on, rocks. Bring it on.
Oh, and it's funny too. Like one of my favorite ones I gave to one of my castmates. Like we ended up being pretty close. And so when I went back for the reunion, I gave him one of my crystals.
Oh,
and he's like, I blessed it in the moon. And I was like, oh, you're so great.
That's amazing. I mean, yeah, talk about those relationships that you made. Like you had some incredible people.
I'm really fortunate that I'm on a season where we all liked each other.
Good.
I feel like they just didn't know what to do with us because we weren't cliquey. And like we all
like,
genuinely liked each other.
We didn't cast enough drama.
This is terrible. How can we? No, and like, people talk about the realness of reality TV, and they just kind of like let us do whatever. And in production is obviously where they decide what the story is, but they didn't tell us to do anything. They just like put us in a room together and let the drama fly. But like the drama mostly came from, will we finish this in time?
Yeah, totally. Which is a real life like
will this be good enough?
Stressful.
Yeah, like I thought that I was going to go home the pajama episode, and like the feedback of all of my that was the most positive feedback. Was people were like, oh my God, if Samantha starts a pajama collection, I'm on it. And I was like, I had never even considered.
Yeah, I need cool pajamas. I
might have to. And I ended up on a lot of the same modesty blogs that Ayana was on because they thought my pajamas were like pretty and modest. And I was like, I mean, I'm a pretty modest person. I don't wear pants, but I wear tights. Like I'm almost always pretty covered up. And
yeah, no, I would say that. I mean, minus business cleavage.
I know.
But my favorite hashtag of the show.
Thanks, Zach posted.
In which
shirts available on my website.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it so much. And I was like, finally.
Oh my God.
She's going to start business cleavage just for me.
And it's so funny.
I resonated with that.
Yahoo Style did a think piece on it, and they're like, is cleavage ever appropriate in the workplace? It's like, dude,
it's so
people
funny
have
when
tits. Like what are you trying to do? Like I have had boobs since middle school, and like they're not going anywhere. They're here with a vengeance, and it's not my fault clothes fit stupid.
Yeah, it's funny. I wear a lot of turtlenecks, right? So people at work don't remember that I have boobs. I mean, they're still there. So then I wear something scoop neck or V-neck, and it's like the world crashed, So it's hilarious. But yeah, I try to keep my deep plunge for like, a night out. So
like I have one dress and I was like, I think I need to retire this because I've put on some weight and so they're getting a little rebellious. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? Like I was working and I was like, oh, I need to put on a scarf.
Tie these in there.
Buckle in, girls.
Oh, that's all part of being a woman, isn't
Right?
it?
But yeah, I mean, a lot of us just stayed really close, and like we appreciate each other. But like, I was out in New York in September, and I got to see Cha Cha and Centel and Aaron, and whenever I see them, it makes me happy. Like they just bring me so much joy. And when I was in LA earlier this year, I got to hang out with Amy and Kentaro and Michael. And what's funny is Michael and Margarita were really close, and so I didn't really get to know Michael as much. But he was always very sweet to me.
Sure.
And when I got cut, like I was really sad because I wanted a mood bag, and like he and Brandon brought me back mood bags that day. And I was just like, you guys are the greatest. So
and it's pretty abrupt, like once you find out and then you're headed out right away, like you don't get much time to process
it just
anything.
sucks. Like, I don't know, but it was funny. Like I was so upset when I saw their reaction to me getting cut, because like I was like, I knew it. Margarita's like, I'm going home, and I was like, no, it'll be me because this is my second time in the bottom. And she's like, no, mine was worse. And I was like, but you know they're not going to kick off a twin. So like I was mentally preparing myself.
Yeah.
And I got cut, and I was like a little sad about it, and I was just like, this sucks. I had so much more to give, and whatever, like I made the client happy, and I followed the assignment. How do you get kicked off for following the assignment?
The rules. Sometimes they want you to not follow the rules. Right. Life is weird.
But then I walked in, and all of them just descended on me, and that's when I lost it. I was like, no, oh my God, this is terrible. I don't want you guys to be sad. And
and as a designer, I mean, you work pretty individual on your own, so having the opportunity to work in a large group format like that is
it
probably
felt like I was
really
back in fashion school.
Different,
but
yeah.
It felt like fashion school camp.
Sure.
Because like we're by ourselves, we don't know anybody, and so like you develop those relationships very quickly because you don't have contact with the outside world. But so yeah, with Michael, like when I was in LA, we realized that we both really like Harry Potter, and we're like, oh my God, why didn't we know this about each other? Oh my God. So now I'm excited to go back so we can go to Wizarding World.
Oh my gosh. And you guys need to take a trip to London, because I just did the Making of Harry Potter tour, and my brain exploded.
You're a monster, and I don't love you anymore.
It was absolutely
I
incredible.
Go so bad.
And my 8-year-old has no idea like how great of opportunity that was. No. She loved every moment of it, but I was like, you don't understand, like all of the magic, all of the years, everything was here. They lived here for 10 years. I'm like having, I'm looking at all of the hats and all of the wardrobe, and they had all the tape of everybody's names and Luna Lovegood's shoes and all the things. And I was literally crying through it, and my mother-in-law was like, are you okay? I'm like, I just need a moment with Luna's shoes.
That sounds like something I would do. Like, so I was a guest at a Harry Potter convention in Wisconsin over the summer, and it was so much fun. And I got to teach classes.
By the way, she's wearing her Slytherin cardigan.
Don't worry about it.
For those of you that can't see into the radio studio, what else are you wearing? She's covered in Harry Potter. Oh my gosh. And the bag to boot. That is amazing. It has all the spells on it.
It's ridiculous. I'm a
So
mess.
cute.
I'm just a disaster.
Hey, you have some inspiration, and it's okay to be inspired.
I just want to live a magical life.
Wizards. I think you're an incredible wizard.
Oh, thank you. But
how have things been since you've been back?
It's been weird. Like it's been a whirlwind. Like one of the things that I was not prepared for was alienation. Like, I mean, you can really only talk about it with your castmates.
Sure.
Until the show airs, you can't really talk about anything. So it was just this huge secret I couldn't tell, and I just didn't feel like I was able to relate to anybody. And I was like, ugh, what do I do? Like,
and you're wanting to process it out because it was an emotional journey.
Absolutely.
And how much time do you have from when, like before the show even aired and you were obviously out there filming, like what was the time gap or space in between that you had like to hold it all in? Like months?
I mean, from the time they tell us we're on until the finale airs. So months.
Oh
Yeah.
my
What was
gosh.
that, like spring until November, I think?
So like almost a full year.
Yeah. And throughout that whole thing, like I'm developing these like great fans that are so sweet, like people who hadn't heard about my stuff, and I just like want to be this optimistic, awesome person, and I'm still kind of like dealing with my own stuff, and I'm like, oh, how do I do this? How do I process it? And I tried like looking online for like aftercare for reality TV.
I know. Is there such a
It's
thing?
not a thing. And like, no, because so many people, like, you can't talk about the process. So, like, there isn't kind of a be all end all. It's a lot of like anger and like dark stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's enough internet for today. So eventually, like, I just made friends with other people who had been on the show and
totally.
talked with them. And that really helped. And, it made
'Cause
me
it's
feel
such a-
less like stupid for having those feelings.
It's
like,
such a weird process to go through. And I did a small stint on reality TV as well. And I think that it was hard. It was weird to get back. It was weird to not be able to talk about anything or share any details, not talk about, all of the prep and things that go into making a show and all of the like almost like emotional torture that we went through.
yeah, it's weird.
And then not being able to really share anything. And I was off the first episode, so it was fine. I didn't make it very long.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
But for me, that was still a 2-month experience because we were out in LA for six weeks because it was a pilot of a show. So it was being pitched to networks. So it was still with all the networks execs. We were still doing everything. And then the show got bought.
Yep.
So then they still just selected, the people that they had selected originally. And
Right.
then they like moved in and casted a few more people, which was weird. So anyway, like my experience was, more on that modeling side of life. And it was when I was 18 and like such a young baby that I don't think I was processing much of anything other than a free trip to LA. So for
Right.
me, it was like totally okay. But like, I get that. I get that in a small fraction of like, there isn't really much support around that because you have to keep it a secret.
Yep.
And then once the show is on, people are all excited about it and excited about you. And you're all like, but in your heart
yeah.
where things are today
Yep.
and where they've ended.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to like, what do I do with this energy?
Well,
how do I harness this as a business person? I'm
absolutely.
sure you started trying to think like, I got to be on it. I got to figure out what to do. Like once the show airs, I don't want to miss
Because you
this,
really
like,
only have about a
chance.
year of like relevance to keep up that momentum. Otherwise, people forget. And like I know that I do a pretty good job of it because I'm a really social person and like I'm always doing something. So I know
Totally.
for me it probably won't be a problem. But there are other of my castmates where I don't know. Like if they are still doing the thing. And like I think about other reality shows or even this like Lost season that was already cast. And now that it's on Bravo again, like they recast it. So I think about those people and how they're never going to be able to talk about it.
Right.
Like, I don't know if anybody from Minnesota was cast. And if they are, I probably will never know because they're not allowed to talk about it. That sucks.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think you were fortunate. You did get a lot of like time and exposure and mentoring, and you got to build some amazing relationships.
Absolutely.
And you came home, and I definitely supported from day one. So star or not, still a supporter. And I think you have such a unique perspective and a unique product. And how do you feel that's resonating? Like how sales wise, how is that resonating here? How are you?
I mean, my sales are about what they were, like a little more, and like my sales are pretty good, but it's different stuff, and like I haven't had a chance to really kind of refill my merch.
Sure. Well, and you're more, I mean, in my mind, you are like a one-of-a-kind designer.
Right. And I know that there are people who want to have some kind of like quick grab and goes or like something they can buy off the rack. But like, because I did a big collection And then I went to film, and then I came home and didn't have time to do a collection that fall because I had to move out of my studio.
Oh, yeah. So there's that, too.
Like everything that could have happened did right near the end of the show. And so my old studio was owned by a person who owned, like, I don't want to say names, but you all know who I'm talking about, who owned Clubhouse Jaeger.
Yep.
Owns. And it was around that time that it came out that he donated to David Duke, the famously of the KKK. And it was this whole huge thing. Like, my husband was a manager at that bar, and when he found out, he was so hurt because he's like, my wife is Black. Why would you think this is okay?
Right.
And like the whole staff was queer and POC, and like the fact that he thought that was okay, whatever.
No,
anyway,
but I mean, I think that
so
that
they all
trauma
left.
that you guys went through as
and like
a
that's
family,
where my viewing parties were, and like I was paying him rent, like he was taking my money, and like it just
and you're
just
like,
sucked.
where is my dollar going?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
Like that is devastating.
So I had to move spaces. Like I couldn't in good conscience give him money anymore.
Nope.
So I moved into a space that needed a lot of renovation. And so then I didn't have the room at home to work. Like I was working out of my walk-in closet. And
totally. I remember my mother-in-law wanting a dress so badly and reaching out, and you're like, but I don't know where to do it in my car.
I don't have any. So there were these months where I wasn't making any money because I didn't have the space. But
life sometimes. But girl, you found a space.
I did.
It's made it
really
magical.
Cool. Oh my God. And it took
I've
a
been
year
watching all
to
of your
renovate it.
progress reno posts.
It looked like a Dexter kill room when I got it. But it's so cool. And I'm right downstairs from Elixir, which is great because I've got such a great relationship with them. I can bring my dog, and like it's so much fun, and my workroom looks so good right now. Like it's almost done. Oh my God. And I'm super excited to get the showroom up and going too, because that's what that other horrible space is going to be. But it looks so good, and I have room.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you
on all of that.
I'm so excited to like show in the spring. Like,
please, because I was very sad in the fall, and
that whole thing.
It's hard, and I for those of you that don't know, Samantha had to cancel her show.
Yep.
And that sucks.
It does suck. I know part of it was them advertising, and another part of it was when I would post it on social media, people weren't seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Facebook and the way things come up as businesses has really shifted and changed.
They want you to pay. And like I paid for ads all of Small Business Weekend, and people still didn't see them. Like the engagement was actually worse.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate. So I mean, I think there has to be a better way. And, you know, I think Fashion Week Minnesota, you know, has you up there and does what they do what they can to like promote the events. But I think there's also the press want to highlight whatever events they want to highlight. I know we hosted an event during Fashion Week for Blunt Cuts too, and we got little trickles of press, but it was because we hired our own PR. Unfortunately, like we didn't get any of the mainstream media press because we weren't a show. We're this brand new random podcast who's willing to swear and like say cunt and, you know, fuck
I really wanted to swear earlier, and I didn't because I didn't know if that would be okay.
Oh yeah, that's definitely okay. So, you know, I think we're just this rogue thing coming in, but we had an event and we were so anxious. And it is when you're throwing an event and you're watching ticket sales and you're seeing nothing, and you know how much you have on the line with your venue and your team and the rentals and the equipment. Yep. Like it is scary to see like, oh my gosh, I'm so far off with what I anticipated for ticket sales. What do we do? What's my break even? And I'm a business person, right? So I, first and foremost, I'm like running all these models of like, okay, if I only sell 20 tickets, what's that going to happen? How much is that affecting my brand new little baby bean of a podcast?
Yeah.
Like all of those things, right? And we ended up scraping and made a $9 profit, and we were so excited.
That's amazing. Woo!
Paid for our coffee the next day.
Yeah.
But really, honestly, it happened at the end. It happened the last day or two before the event. And for someone who is a type A anxious, it was like, Michaela, I'm never doing another event. That's it. I'm canceling this. It's over. And like, she really is my support here and is like, just do it. It's going to be what it is. We can do it. We have people coming. Even if it's a small room, we just turn the lights low and we make
it
work.
sexy in here.
And it was one of the most beautiful experiences I had ever had.
Good.
And I think that you just sometimes like, it's scary and you wait for people. And I'm sad that you didn't wait. Because maybe, but I'm also sad
I didn't
that
cancel it. They did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm also sad that like somebody didn't know the process of how like this event world goes, and like why aren't people buying tickets? Like why is it that people want? And it's not like ticket prices were exorbitant. I think that that's the other thing. Like where and how, like what. How much do you want to pay for a fashion show? Like how much? Like
I sometimes feel like people want to get paid to go to the fashion show and they want to be entertained and they don't realize it's a commercial and not a rock concert. Like, yes, you can be entertained, but it's like a Super Bowl commercial. You pay a lot of money to get people to buy your product.
Yeah, it's very expensive to produce an event. And,
and
rarely is that the sales mechanism behind. It's really just to showcase the amazing talent and team and work.
I don't know if it's that they can't be bothered to go to something or like they like the idea of supporting local, but they don't do it. Like I see other people having to cancel. I have seen so many events, like just because, when Facebook cancels an event, it says like so-and-so canceled their event. And I just like hurt for them because I'm like, you probably had the same problem I had. That's telling.
No, it is. I mean, and it's kind of funny, like in that I feel you because I have, it isn't just you. And I am a big ticket purchaser.
You go to everything.
And I buy my tickets. And that is a big differentiator. And I have had people give me tickets and I will do a giveaway for them or I will give them to somebody else who hasn't bought, because usually by that time when somebody is like, oh, hey, do you want a seat? I'm like, I already have a seat. I bought a ticket right when it came out. Like I want to put my money where my mouth is and I will support. And like, that is what I do. And I don't have any expectations that somebody needs to fund my way into their event. I support them. I want to fund their way into like the world, for fuck's sake. Like that's what this is about. And if that's $25 at a time, that's $25 at a time.
And I feel like that's cheaper than going to a concert.
Oh my gosh, like that for me, like I can't walk into Target without spending.
Hey, I'm going to Target after this and I feel very attacked right now.
Like I can't walk in there without spending $50. Like what did I buy? I don't know. I needed all of these caramels and stationery because that's what I saw.
50 blank books. 50 blank books.
That's what happens.
But yeah, I want to see the people who are saying that they support local to actually support local, and like, don't go to a fashion show because you want a gift bag. Go to a fashion show because you want to see the new wares that a fashion designer has to offer. Like, I have a lot newer, like, different clients now, and I have my regulars, but I feel like the people who are buying stuff from me now aren't the fashion show goers.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
How do I tap into those? Like we've all just been kind of trying to figure it out.
Yeah, no, I think that's such a valid point. And I know that the more I get involved in local fashion, you're not alone. This is a huge thing. And I think that watching people's collections through a different lens and through this eye of like how have they shifted and how have they changed as designers? And that's I start getting excited about the subtle changes and differences and details, and I can tell somebody's life has been impacted, and especially our female designers right now in this market are making amazing cool shit because we have to put our like energy somewhere.
Seriously, like
so follow like
there's
all
so
of
many
your talented
amazing
Minnesota female designers because they are kicking ass right now.
Fact. Like so one of my previous interns has started designing again. She hasn't designed in probably 7 years. And she's so talented. I'm so excited to see her collection next year.
And what is her collection name?
I don't know if her label is still called Damage, but her name is Hitomi K. And she's brilliant. Like, she's so good. And like, I keep seeing other designers just stop designing because they're like, I can't make money off of it. And like, one of the most talented designers I know doesn't design at all, and like he hasn't in so long, and like I don't want to,
Yeah, that's hard.
And then like Ivan started designing again, and I'm just like, oh, thank God, you're so good. Like he's in the top 3 best designers in the Twin Cities in my opinion, and I'm so happy he's making again because he's so good.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the hard part. It is a really tough business to make a living at. So for that young designer, what advice or learning lesson would you have either from your Project Runway experience, your life here as a designer in Minnesota? And I feel you're propelling into the world and it's just starting for you. Like
I'm not scared of it. I got a lot of cool stuff on the horizon that is weird. I like weird stuff. I like doing weird experimental things. But I mean, to the young designers, I always tell them, be patient. It's a lot of times about luck. I've seen not talented designers make it because they were in the right place at the right time or they had the right benefactor. I've seen absolutely brilliant designers give up. It's about putting yourself out there. The more you put yourself out there, the more chances you have of getting that lucky strike.
Oh, such good advice. And I think I would add to that, ask for help.
Yep.
As an artist, as a human, as somebody trying to go do great things, other people will support you if they know you need help.
Absolutely. Like
when you were shifting your studio and you put up like a fundraiser, absolutely no fucking problem. Like, where do I send my money?
Yep. I am so grateful for this community, like, and especially like my specific group. They're so great. Like the hair and makeup people that I've developed these like deep friendships with, and the model, my friend who's the model who was able to like just drop what she was doing to go to Chicago with me.
That's
and, like,
the thing about this community. Like if you love it, it will love you back.
Exactly. And like, there was a point a few years ago where my husband and I were going to relocate to Indianapolis, and I was terrified because I was like, I don't want to be alone in a city. Like this is the only city that I don't know anybody in. And like, can I just take my community with me? Because it's just, I feel like it's been so beautifully cultivated and we all lift each other up so much. It's really beautiful. And
it is so unique. And I think that's where noise aside and bad intentions aside, I think that people who are acting with good intention and love Minnesota fashion with all the right intention, like are here to support. And I think, it's hard. It's hard to buy local. It is more expensive than your off the rack. It is, but you are making someone's like mortgage life happen. Yep. You're making their groceries, their food on their table. Like that is an impact that your dollar is going straight to them and their family and their business. And you're helping propel them into the future. So if you believe in businesses and these great designers, like use your dollar in all the right ways.
Vote with your money.
It's so true. I mean, down to if you have a small, like, budget, you have amazing pins. Like you have some cool enamel pins that I'm just like all the time in love with.
I want to get one made of my dog.
Please do.
She's real.
I just had an idea pop into my head of
what's that?
Some of my favorite Samantha Rei dresses turned into aprons so that I can bake cookies with aprons. So,
goodness gracious,
can you do that?
I could look into it.
I mean, 'cause what says more than an apron with business cleavage?
I think you're wearing your apron wrong.
Oh, damn it.
I think that's after dark cleavage.
I have a thing where I bake naked. So
I mean, that's fair. That's totally after dark cleavage.
Or at like noon on a Sunday. But my kids are just like, Mom, I'm having friends over. Put some pants on.
Pants are for suckers. That's why I don't wear them.
Well, that lessons learned shifted gears. But, well, thank you so much for being with us today.
No problem.
And thank you for hanging out with us. Let's continue this conversation on Instagram. And you can find us at Blunt Cuts Podcast. You can find Samantha Rei.
Samantha Rei Official. It's REI. Samantha REI Official.
Perfect. Thank you for being here.
It was fun.